day of Comic-Con, we have the one and only, the incomparable Brian Stelfreeze, and we are here because we are talking about diversity in comics. We have one of the most popular artists. Can I use that word? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, popular is good.
Popular artist who's responsible for some of the awesome rap work we've seen the latest Black Panther. So we're here at his table. He has a lot of good art right now on his plate. He's been signing autographs. Since I've been here, I've seen him. Every time I see him, I'm so crowded. People are wrapped around the corner just to get his autograph. So how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. This is day 3 and I'm still going. I'm feeling real good.
You're really energetic. Like, you're made for this.
Oh, the coolest thing about it is like, thing that I always say is some people work in coal mines. I mean, this is the thing that I wanted to do ever since I was 12 years old. So, and I'm doing it. So, man, I got no excuses.
What advice do you have for other Black creators that want to break into this industry? Because even people like you and David Walker still have certain qualms about the industry. So how does new talent work with the same problems that you face and you've seen since you've been in the industry and opposed to now?
Well, the thing about it is one of the cool things about comics is it is a sort of a merit-based industry, particularly for artists. If you're an artist, just draw well. Draw well and apply yourself. I mean, really show your stuff around, talk to people, network with people. There's a lot of artists that are artists of color that are real happy to help out other folks. I mean, come up to me at a convention, and show me your stuff, and I'll give you some advice. So really the biggest advice that I can say to the young brothers and sisters getting in is no excuses, no limitations. Just jump in there. If somebody puts up a wall, knock it down.
Now, out of all the artists I've seen since I've been here, you seem like the most open and most engaging person. Some people are usually a little standoffish a little bit.
Yeah.
You're more extroverted.
Huh?
You see artists are introverted.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is even on that, I'm old school. The cool thing about it is I went to school for a little while and got incredibly frustrated with that, and actually dropped out of college. But what ended up, I went to the Art Institute of Atlanta. Okay. But what ended up happening was I hooked up with just an illustration house. Some guys that's all they did all day long, and they kind of took me in, this young guy, and taught me everything. So it's just and they paid me to learn. So that was the best situation in the world. So I owe those guys. So when I talk to the young brothers and sisters coming to me at the show, I'm paying those guys back.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now let me ask you about your art, the process of your art. Do you only do comic art, or are you an all-around artist? Do you find yourself drawing?
I am jealous of everyone. So I do a little bit of everything. I do oil paints, acrylic paints, watercolors, pen and ink for comics, commercial stuff, commission stuff, just a little bit of everything. I mean, I love drawing. So
let me ask you, what is your favorite art period, if you have a favorite art period?
My favorite art period is kind of unknown. My favorite period has got to be early American illustration. Okay. Right at the turn of the century, there's some great guys doing commercial work in the United States, and it's some of the best illustration work that's ever been done. I'm talking these are the guys that gave birth to Norman Rockwell, and N.C. Wyeth. So guys like J.C. Leyendecker, guys like Edwin Austin Abbey, these were just fantastic illustrators, and those guys are probably the biggest influences on my work.
Who are some of yours? Who do you look to for inspiration?
I look to the dead guys, because the thing about it is those guys figured it out, and I think with illustration today, a lot of times it's about flash and pop, but those guys were about foundation. And I think before you decide to go crazy, before you decide to go nuts, the first thing you should learn is foundation. And those guys really teach you.
What's the foundation of art?
Well, the foundation of art is, and this is something that they don't teach in schools, but the foundation of art is actually storytelling. And that's the foundation in music. And that's the foundation in sculpting. That's the foundation of any art, is actually storytelling. We're not here to draw the most beautiful lines or the prettiest faces or anything like that. We're here to tell that story. And sometimes that story is beautiful, but sometimes that story is art. So the art has to be beautiful at times and ugly at times to really tell that story. And that's the foundation.
Let me ask you your thoughts. What do you think about, what comes to your mind when you hear the word Afrofuturism?
Oh, when I hear the word Afrofuturism, a lot of things come to mind. I mean, it's almost like the Europeans have had a lock on the future for the longest time. But Afrofuturism is not only reaching for the future, but bringing your past along with it. So Afrofuturism isn't looking for the latest and greatest and newest and shiniest. Afrofuturism is actually looking for that stuff, but bringing everything that gave birth to you along with it. You know, so you're going to have a little bit of culture along with that future. I think futurism is almost sans culture. You know, we try to erase our culture when we look to the future, but Afrofuturism celebrates culture and celebrates dreaming at the same time.
Are you seeing Afrofuturism being played out right now?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the more African faces, the more African hands get involved, the more of that you're going to see. Yeah, and it's really interesting.
So you see like the revelation of the Hollywood designs in their writing, their art being played out right now in front of you.
Oh yeah, definitely. And in fact, what's really cool is I think you have these situations that I was just joking with someone the other day about Black Panther, how Black Panther shows up during times of civil unrest. You know, you have like in the 60s during all of the civil rights movement, that's when Black Panther was created. He was created out of that turmoil. And now the Black Panther that we're doing, all of the stuff that's going on with Black Lives Matter, all of the stuff that's going on with the shootings, there is unrest. And when there's unrest, there's also growth. You know, and Black Panther has shown up again. So it's kind of interesting.
What made you get on this project with Black Panther?
Well,
Did you want to do it, or did you get a phone call to be asked to do it?
I got a phone call to get invited to do it, and the interesting thing about it was, I at first looked at it as if it was just doing a comic book, but then once I saw the script, once I saw who was going to write it, it really struck me as, oh, they're going for something more.
How do you like the writing of Coates and Black Panther?
Oh my God!
I've heard different reviews. Some people think it's too developing, it's too wordy. Some people can't follow it. Some people say it reads like a novel. What are your thoughts?
I think all of those people are right on all accounts, and that to me is the most interesting thing about Black Panther. Is it's not just a sort of quick and easy comic book. It's something that you have to dive into. It's like the rest of his writing. He writes in a way that makes you think. It's not just entertaining you, but it's moving you at the same time. So that to me is really important writing.
I really appreciate your time. Is there anything you want to tell creative people of color on how to get into art, how to appreciate art, and how to get into comics?
Well, like I said, the foundation for art is storytelling. And more so than probably anyone else, the people that have the greatest stories, and I'm talking some stories of joy, some stories of turmoil, heartbreak, some stories of prejudice, those stories are important stories. So I think artists are people that are storytellers. So if you have a story to tell, and there isn't a single person of color that doesn't have a story to tell, then you can be an artist. So you have to reach for the future, like Afrofuturism, but you have to bring some of yourself along with it. And I think everyone who's born of a Black father and born of a Black mother has a story to tell.
Absolutely. What do you want people to take away from your art?
What I want them to take away from their art is, from my art, is I want them to be entertained, but I want them to see a little bit of themselves reflected into it. And the thing about it is not just brothers and sisters, but I want everyone to see a little bit of themselves, because we all feel some of the same things. And I think it's a real good idea for us to listen to other people's stories and connect to those stories. If you're a white person reading Black Panther, I want you to see a little bit of yourself in it. If you're a Chinese woman reading Black Panther, I want you to see a little bit of yourself in it, because I think our stories are similar, and that's what makes our stories so interesting.
Last question. Who are some of your favorite Black superheroes?
Oh, my favorite Black superheroes, definitely, without a doubt, Black Panther is number one. You know, but Storm, you just can't get better than that. You know, I mean, Storm is that strong female character, you know, sort of that Earth Mother. You just can't touch that. You know, I think those two, you know, and the fact that they were king and queen at one time, that's pretty sweet. My superheroes are black.